No, I'm not still hungover. Definitely not.
No, there is not still a hungover. I was a little bit hungover this morning, I might have, but yeah. Actually, I wasn't so much hungover as still very slightly drunk. But
Wow,
two different reasons. But yeah, so yes, hope everybody is well. We've got Redwing in. Hello, Redwing in. Hello, and we've got Becky. Hello, lovely. And what else have we got in? We've got somebody else in. Oh, I'm not sure.
It's you that's in.
And me. Oh, and me. Hello.
Hello, you.
Me. There's definitely three people there. Oh, that's me. So I'm on the gin again. Oh
Good
dear.
for you. I'm on water.
It's better for you.
Still lisping as I go.
They're coming along nicely though, aren't they?
They are. Oh, Jules. Hello.
Hello. Hello, hello. So I've got a few things that I wanted to talk to you about today. Kind of around Beltane, because obviously we've just had Beltane. Oh, Dawn Cherry Paul. Hello. Morning, evening, hello. Yeah, because obviously we just had Beltane, which is Samhain for Dawn Cherry Paul, isn't
it? Yes.
Yeah. It is. My favourite. So yes, we've just had that. And I've just been reading a couple of really interesting articles in a Witchin magazine that I subscribe to, which is jolly good. And I was really quite intrigued. And there was two things that I particularly wanted to talk about. One of which was hawthorn.
The May.
The May. So obviously it's got the other name of the bread and cheese plant, hasn't it? So have you ever personally eaten hawthorn leaves and decided that they do in fact taste like bread and cheese?
I have indeed eaten hawthorn leaves. The wonderful Maureen Brown introduced me. They have to be the very young ones, the very fresh ones. And I didn't think they tasted slightly bit like bread or cheese. I thought they tasted quite leafy and not in an unexpected way. I wasn't a fan, but I tried.
You tried them. And actually the bread and cheese thing actually is quite a new thing for me. You know, known about hawthorn and whatnot, Mayflower stuff. So I'm just rearranging. Known about that for donkey's years, but I've never until recently heard it called the bread and cheese plant. I was like,
no.
Oh. Yeah, so that was a new one on me. And I've yet to find anyone that's either eaten them and have found that they taste like bread and cheese or whatever. Somebody was saying that they put them in herby dumplings. So if you want cheesy dumplings, I suppose maybe cooking them brings the flavour out. Hi Tina. Maybe cooking them brings the flavour out.
So just taste of leaf, to be fair.
That's what I imagine them to taste like. But yeah. Anyway, this article that I was reading, it was talking about the hawthorn and it's linked to the fae and all that kind of stuff. And it was making a protection, a house protection using hawthorn twigs that haven't been cut, because obviously it's unlucky to cut them. So, you know, found hawthorn sticks. And then using hawthorn berries, obviously it's not the right time of year for that, but, you know, dried ones from last year. And some white thread, and essentially sort of hanging it up wherever gives protection to that particular part of your home. So I thought that was quite a nice thing. Basically asking for the fairies' help to give some protection to you. So yeah, so I thought that was quite a nice thing. I got some hawthorn berries from last year in a jar, labelled hawthorn berries.
One of your many jars.
many jars, yeah. I like a good jar. Hello. Oh God, I can't speak. Alison Jones, hello. That came out as hello and Alison all in one go. Alison. Yes, hello, good evening. So yeah, so I thought that might be quite a nice thing to do, especially as at the moment the weather's blooming awful. Did you have a storm yesterday?
Oh, well, yeah, the night before and yesterday morning. It was so wet. Bins were flying everywhere. There were many a bin.
Yeah.
Heading across the road. It wasn't good. And I it was the final straw for me. I just thought, I really, winter can just go off right now.
Enough already. Yeah, no, it's awful.
We've had Belgium. It's meant to be summer.
I know. A friend of mine that lives down on the south coast, Laura, she'd spent days and days and days and days and days doing her garden and doing all the seeds and things. And after the storm, essentially everything just ended up in a huge great pile on top of her newly potted out tomatoes. So she was really upset. I think I don't think anything from it is salvageable. But the really weird thing is that I was expecting, because it was dreadful here, it sounded like a BBC sound effects department. And it was so windy, and I sort of expected there to be carnage in the front garden. And it was. My pot of rooting powder had fallen off the coffee table.
My God.
I know. Absolute carnage. Do you know, that was literally the only thing that moved. And I don't quite know why, because I've got little pots and big pots and seed trays and stuff all over the place. And not one of them budged, apart from my pot of rooting powder.
It's so probably the direction the wind was coming from.
Imaginable.
Yeah.
And my storms here before, and it's from my garden furniture around and stuff. And I think it was the first storm after I moved in here, which was part of Storm Dennis, when I got flooded. And we had high winds before that. And my bin ended up literally in the middle of the cow field opposite.
That's a big field.
Yeah, it was literally right in the middle. I had to climb over the gate to go and get it. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure entirely how it got over there, but yeah, it was right in the middle. And it's a blooming big field, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I had to go and retrieve that. So I was kind of expecting a similar thing. But no, obviously it wasn't as bad as I thought. But no, it was. And then today we had hailstorm and all sorts of stuff. So it's really kind of carrying on. So yeah.
Yes.
Tina's saying make a headpiece. Oh, nice piece of hawthorn in the shape of stag antlers. That's what Becky's got. And Tina's saying to make a headdress out of it. That would be lovely, actually. That'd be really nice. Yeah, Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Well, we got this here. Susie says, just had a nasty squall in Hampton. Not nice being in an outdoor pool when it's threatening hail. I actually rather like swimming outside when it's raining.
Rain, yes. Hail, not so much. Ow.
It's quite painful, isn't it?
Especially if it's bigger than a pea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can be really quite uncomfortable, can't it? Invigorating. No.
You won't want.
It'd knock you out, couldn't it? Especially if it's the hail like they have in Australia. Where my daughter lives, she lives in Queensland, and wow, the hailstones that they have there, they're unreal. They're literally like tennis balls. I've never seen anything like it. So, and it does tremendous damage. It literally does millions of pounds worth of damage. And they go through roofs. They literally right off cars, and oh, it's amazing. So yeah, it's not good when they have a hailstorm.
No, extreme weather.
Yeah, a bit freaky, isn't it? Yeah. The other thing that I was reading in this magazine is such a good magazine. I'll put a link to it later. It's only online. You can't buy a physical copy of it, but it's a really good monthly magazine. I really enjoy it. I have done for a couple of years. I think it's called Which Way, something like that. Anyway, it's really good. But one of the articles that I was reading was about a magical garden, but a magical garden to introduce children to witchcraft, which is great, but it also introduces newcomers to witchcraft as well. Because some of the things that it suggested in there was, sort of start small rather than, just sort of go all out and, I'm as a newbie, let's do 30 different plants or herbs or whatever. But to sort of start small, maybe 3 or 4 different herbs, but really kind of get to know them. Once you kind of, if you're planting them outside obviously planning and all the rest of it. But you can use them on a windowsill, because obviously herbs are quite happy on a windowsill generally, aren't they? But, you know, it was kind of empowering the plants by, you know, sort of putting sachets or crystals or sigils on the pots, or ribbons around the pots, and, you know, sort of using colour magic. So you can incorporate all sorts of little bits like that, sigils and colour magic and so on. And then it was saying about using a sort of a kitchen or a garden grimoire, and kind of spend a bit of time each day with the plants to see which one, you know, how they speak to you. You know, sort of one might feel cold, or one might feel it needs to be turned round. And just by, you know, kind of just being with the plant and having your eyes closed, and see if any words come to you. It might be the spirit of the plant talking to you. It was a really lovely article, and it was great for beginners of all ages, I thought. You know, it just had some really nice ideas in it. So yeah, I rather liked that. So, but I will put a link to that magazine. They always have some really good articles. They have some stories in it as well, and stuff. But yeah, all sorts of different ideas for the Wheel of the Year, which is nice. So yeah, what's this here? What do you ladies think of children's tarot? Well, I started doing tarot when I was 8, but it wasn't a children's deck. In fact, it was probably the heaviest deck that I possess. It's rather sinister. It's one my brother picked out for me, which is, and he's quite a lot older than me. And I asked for a tarot deck for my 8th birthday, and that's what I got. But they're hard work, put it that way. But they do have some really nice ones that are a bit more designed for kids. I think they've got a gummy bears one, I think. Have you seen that one?
I have never heard of children's tarot. I know some are more light in appearance perhaps than others, and I thought you'd probably, yeah, but it's got to be something you relate to, isn't it, really? Something you connect with. So I would think anything very nature-based would be fine, but some of the very dark ones probably might spook a child, but then for a child who's interested in tarot, they're probably not very spookable.
No, exactly. Well, as I say, you know, this one that I've got doesn't spook. It probably spooks me more now than it did then.
Yeah.
Hi, Lou. Yeah, I think it probably, I don't know, it's that whole thing of being relatable, though, isn't it? You know, 40 or so years ago, 50 years ago, there really wasn't a massive choice of tarot like there is now.
Oh God,
you know,
no.
I mean, there's, you know, hundreds of, if not thousands of different decks out there, isn't there? I mean, I've got, how many have I got? I've got 20 or 30 odd, haven't I? That's only a drop in the ocean. So yeah, so I don't think saying no per se, but what might be a good introduction to it, to get a feel for the cards, maybe is oracle cards to start with rather than tarot, or angel cards or something like that. You know, they're a bit lighter and a bit, you know, they're easier to do, but it kind of gets you into the swing of, you know, interpreting, because it's the interpretation that's the tricky thing. Because, you know, you can read, oh, this card says, you can read it out of any book, but then it's then putting it to the person that's asking the question, whether it's yourself or, you know, or somebody else, and it's putting it into that context. And if it's an oracle card, I think they're a bit lighter. They don't go in such depth as tarot, but it kind of it's like an introduction of learning how to appropriate what you read to the situation that's in hand. So that's an idea.
And it does depend on the child as well, doesn't it? It depends on their personality and what their abilities and instincts are like.
Yeah,
I mean, the idea of a Hello Kitty tarot set, you know, just horrifies me. Yeah.
Yeah, it does depend on how old the children are, and obviously, you know, you're going to get something very different for a 6-year-old than you will for a 12-year-old, obviously. But yeah, no, I don't see why you wouldn't, because I think it's a good introduction. You know, and there's an awful lot to learn, but I think the biggest the biggest learning curve is how to put what you know about a certain card into the context of the person that's asking the question. And I think that's the biggest learning curve of all, because you can learn all the other stuff parrot fashion, or you can do what I do and just do it by instinct and intuition, with a few thrown in basics. But yeah, but there are some that have got some lovely imagery out there. I think they're really good. So yeah, what are you doing?
I'm just trying to find some light because I realised I'm starting to get like a black cat in the coal mine here. So I'm just trying to get some light.
Right, with this scrabbling about.
Yeah, scrabbling around. Oh, crap, no. Maybe not.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a great question here. Hang on. There we go. Pop it up here. So Alison says that she's reading Psychic Witch at the moment. Do you think witchcraft and being psychic sit hand in hand? Personally, I think there's a very strong connection between the two, yes. There are some people that would completely disagree with me, I'm sure. And everybody that you ask will have a slightly different viewpoint, I'm sure. But yeah, personally, I think there is quite a link between the two. I suppose you've got some that will sort of say, oh, well, you know, maybe it's more intuition than being psychic. And obviously, you know, intuition's a massive part of witchcraft, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you've got that whole other level to take you from, you know, sort of the regular, I don't know, it kind of like elevates you, I think. It kind of takes you from, you know, sort of just doing the practical stuff and, you know, reading about it and learning about it and so on, to actually be the one that, you know, sort of gets messages and so on. So I don't know. Yeah, personally, I think they do seem to go hand in hand. And very often you'll get the two, but of course then you'll get some. Oh, hi, Chris. You know, then you get lots of mediums, of course, and they wouldn't profess to be a witch at all, and they'd be quite offended if that's what you called them. So, yeah, I think if you've got an interest in, you know, in witchcraft and you happen to have psychic ability, then you know you're in for a not easy ride, but you're in for an interesting ride. Put it that way. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, people want to develop those skills through witchcraft, and obviously a lot of the practices and things can develop it anyway. So it's probably not an absolute essential in order to be a witch by any means, but I think it does tend to kind of go with the territory to some degree. There are many abilities that people will be better at one area than another, or more comfortable with, I don't know, making something happen than divination or whatever, you know, that everyone's going to have their own strengths and weaknesses, I guess. Yeah.
But let's face it, I mean, it's one of those things that you do try and actively develop, don't you, as a witch? You know, and you'll use, you know, sort of tinctures and teas and herbs and all sorts of stuff to help with psychic ability, whether it's through dreams or through divination or whatever it might be. So if you've got a you know, sort of a predisposed ability for it already, then you're kind of halfway there, really. It's a bit less to learn.
Like the astral travel thing, people think, is that essential? It's like, well, it's bloody handy, but you can't say anything is truly essential.
Exactly. Yeah. In the same way that no tools are truly essential and no herbs are truly essential. It's, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? But yeah. Just another string to your bow, though.
Exactly. I like that one from the Heathen Coalition. Keep the wit in witch. That should be on the t-shirt, shouldn't it?
Absolutely, it should. Yeah, definitely. I think somebody should say to that right away. Hello, Heathen Coalition. Excellent. Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thing, as I say, and it is one of those things. And I've got several books on, you know, sort of, cat's in a hurry. You know, various books on not psychic ability, but, you know, enriching your psychic abilities and harnessing it and things like that. And it's, you know, it's very, very common in those particular shelves in the bookshop or shelves in the library to find those in amongst the, you know, general esoteric stuff. So yeah, I think it's a useful tool. Most definitely. But then, you know, you've got all sorts of different forms of what people will say is psychic ability, and some will say, you know, it's true mediumship. It might be clairaudience or clairvoyance or mixture of the two, or, you know, it might be that you just get sensations of things or whatever. So there's all sorts of different levels of that. And then, of course, you've got that whole thing of, well, you just know.
Yeah.
Suddenly you know something that you had no reason to know, but you know. And is that intuition? Is that from a past life? Is that psychic ability? What's that? Who knows? All sorts of things, really, couldn't it? Yeah. I rather like the past life ability. I'm quite keen to come down on the side of that. I quite like that. I knew it from a previous life.
Well, indeed.
Yeah, it's quite a nice way to think about it. But yeah, food for thought, though. Definitely. Now, is that a bird singing in yours, or is that a bird singing at mine?
I don't know. It's just there's a very large black cloud out there.
I could definitely hear a bird singing.
So can I. Not sure. Might be the ones out the front from here. They're very loud if it's them.
Yeah. Blimey. I think mine have all blown away.
Yeah, like the sheep.
Yeah, like the sheep. Yeah. Oh, do you know, I was absolutely convinced that they'd blown away. I was really upset and worried about them for ages.
I've got them all here. They're all in the field. They've got all the ones with these increasingly meaty, sorry, that's the wrong word to use, isn't it? Looking lambs. They're quite hefty looking lambs.
Yeah. Yeah, they do bulk up, don't they? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, about 2 weeks ago, they were little skinny things skipping around. Now they're like,
Yeah. Well, I suppose their fur grows too.
yeah,
Wool.
yeah, they do grow very rapidly, like
Yeah.
all young things. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. What are you doing? You're trying to spoil my chair. Leave my chair alone. Yes, you. Yes. So I was talking about Bert and his, you know, things that he brings in, and I was bemoaning the fact that I haven't had anything interesting from him apart from dead creatures
Yeah.
in recent weeks. But he'd obviously listened, because the following morning I came down to a very, very nice piece of bark.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah, not a particularly big piece of bark, but a very nice piece of bark nevertheless. So I was quite pleased with that. So he got lots of praise. That was the day after, you know, I said he always brings in, or they always bring garnish in when they caught a creature and they bring it in. And so they put a mouse on my bath mat.
Ew.
And it had stiffened somewhat. Yeah. So when you picked it up by the tail, it would stuck up like a pencil. But he brought in a crispy leaf. It's like, was he planning on smoking it or what?
Just roll your mouse.
You got to like that, Nana. Yeah. Really quite refreshing. So, yeah. Didn't think much of that. But obviously he got told off. So, yeah, hence
Just
the bark.
mouse.
Yeah, poor mouse, honestly. So, yes, that's why I got bark the next day. And I was very, very pleased. I've got quite a collection of barks and twigs and sticks. So I do tend to keep them, because I do bits of artwork with them from time to time. But, yeah. That's weird, really.
Becky's having an argument with her cat. He's being a twat. Can a cat be a twat? I suppose he can.
Cats can be a twat. Yes, I would agree with that. They really can. Can't you? Yes. He says, what, me? No. Come on. Come and show everybody how lovely you are. Come on. He says, no, I don't think I will, actually. Come on.
He's being a twat.
Come on. Say hello. Oh, he's dancing. Come on. You're doing funny dances. He's going round and round in circles. That usually means there's nothing in the dish.
Ah.
Yeah. The dance of, what do we call it? The hunger dance. It's about to fade away.
Which is, does it kind of fall over afterwards?
No, that's your cat that does that.
Yeah,
No, he's sort of skipping around in circles.
Oh.
And he's sort of ever decreasing circles towards the bowl.
Ah, to sort of subtle hint.
Well, this way, please.
Yeah, you see, mine just falls over, but it would work, except that there's no way the size of that animal is fading away. It's just flump.
I feel faint. Yeah.
Very.
So, Becky, why are you arguing with your cat? Becky's cat's a tripod. He's only got 3 legs. Yes. Tripod. Yes. He was acting very strangely around a chair. Becky was telling me at the weekend, and yeah, there's some investigation required as to why he's acting particularly strangely around this certain chair, and obviously speculation abound. Could be this, could be that, could be the other. So scratching. Yeah, see, mine do that. They're a pain in the bum, aren't they? Yes. And you end up with bits of foam, and it's like, where's that come from? Yeah, off my chair. Yes, talking about you. Yeah. So, did you do anything for Beltane, Heather?
Not so much. No. It was a bit of a mad weekend, and I've been running around trying to sort out my camper van and the various practicalities. Mind you, what I did do was a whole shed load of gardening. I got that gardening urge, and I spent an entire hours and hours basically weeding and sorting my front garden. It's one of those things I started, and because the energy was up, I just kept going. It was like,
yeah.
Oh, and I paid the price on the Sunday. It was like, oh man. So yeah, that was my kind of practical gardening witching, of having to sort the front garden out, and I just felt like it. I just suddenly felt moved to do it. And of course, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely too. So I was out in the garden. I just planted lots of seeds. I found my pink sunflower seeds. I had a good old hunt about them. I kept thinking, I know I've got them somewhere. Anyway, I found them. I had 2 packets of them, and there was more in each packet than I thought there was. So I planted 1 packet's worth, which is about 20. But it'll be interesting to see whether they do actually come up pink, or whether I've been duped and they're just all standard yellow ones.
Well, either will be lovely.
Yeah, either way, they'll be nice. But you know what it is with sunflowers, and then they might only be little sunflowers, 6 or 8 inches, or they might be those great whoppers that are 6 or 8 feet. I have no idea.
It'll be fun finding out.
Yeah, I'm guessing somewhere in the middle, but yeah. So I planted 20 of them, and I've still got another 20 or so seeds. So if they don't do anything, I can have another go, can't we?
Yeah.
I planted lots and lots of different seeds and little plants and things. I've been having a bit of a whale of a time. That was the end of last week, actually. Quite a good time doing that. And on Saturday, went off and had afternoon tea, which was very civilised.
Very.
Very civilised. So I made some scones, some vegan scones. We had the inevitable discussion as to whether they should be called scones or scones.
Oh, God, yes, that one.
It's never settled, that one, is it? And, of course, there was the discussion of jam or cream first.
Right.
And we decided that as we were in Surrey, we should have both. Both underneath the jam and on the top.
Have a triple layer.
But you have to be careful, because when you bite in, you can gut your nose. So you do have to be a little bit careful.
Oh, man. Not meant to inhale it.
Got long nostrils like me that gets in the
Okay.
So yeah, but no, it was lovely actually. It was all very civilised, and yeah, it was really, really nice. But what was so funny was that it's that time of year, and it doesn't matter, when I think you get so, I don't know, you get so in tune with the wheel of the year that you don't need to know what the date is. And
Yeah.
that's like you were saying with the garden, you just suddenly get this urge and then you look back and think, oh, what date is it? Oh, it's the whatever. And you suddenly, sort of put it back into place. You sort of work backwards with it. And yeah, of course, Beltane is the fertility ritual time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So everybody was being rather rude. Very funny.
It always happens, even weeks in the run up to Beltane. You just know. It just all gets very basic and very sexual. Yes.
It does, yeah. And it's so funny. And then it sort of it wanes back off to the normal, the sort of the normal level of the odd cheesy joke from time to time, like normal life. But then it just ramps up at this time of year, and everyone was yes, it really was. It was Smut City, so it was very funny though. Oh dear, but yeah, you have to laugh, and it's just you sort of think, well, you might not be doing anything specific, but look at what we're talking about. I don't mean just specifically for Beltane, but whatever time of year it is, it just naturally, it's just the natural progression, really, isn't it? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, even my yoga teacher follows the wheel of the year quite strongly. I mean, she doesn't consider herself a witch, and probably wouldn't go for that. But the things that she kind of observes, and her tuning in, and her love of trees, and wanting to be in nature, and all of that, the energies that go through the year, she's very much in tune with. So,
who did you say that was? Heather, I didn't catch.
My yoga teacher.
Oh, your yoga teacher, yeah. Oh, excellent. Cool. So Becky's saying that she's managed to get her boyfriend to let her cleanse him, and everything's much better now. Well, that's a relief. Because from what you were saying, it was all a bit grim. So yes. So likes a bit of cleansing, apparently.
Right.
From me. Oh dear. So you're getting the blessed bee this weekend. I bet you can't wait.
I'm quite excited about the blessed bee, although I have to say the portaloo that will be going in her is already here. I mean, priorities, as it were.
Well, I suppose I was going to say you could take it with you on there, and I was imagining that you would be driving there, but of course you're not going to be driving there because you've got to drive that back. So
I'm going by train.
On the train is not such a great idea after all, but yeah.
No, there's no need.
That potty will travel. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I'm quite excited. I just actually want to see it for real, because obviously I've only ever seen pictures. And I also need to know how to operate things, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll go through it with you though.
I'm sure they will, but whether I remember it is not. I'll be like, oh, I want to have a go.
Notepad and a pencil. That's what you need.
Absolutely, I will be taking notes, because it's different.
Or I suppose you could draw diagrams and stuff too. Or you could put your phone on record.
Well, that was my thought, to actually do a little video of them showing me what does what, so that I've got it to remember. Just because it's all too exciting and I won't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So have you got your first trip planned yet?
Well, not really. The main thought is that I probably want to go somewhere very near home and just go away one night and just try that. But then, of course, there will be times when we're going places in her. So lots of people are very interested in going places in her, which is nice.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You have no time to yourself.
No, but I don't mind. I get plenty of time to myself during the week. It will be really nice to start going out places. I know you were talking about a thing that you were getting tickets for, and that will be good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's later in the year. So if everything goes to plan, yes, most definitely we'll be getting out there. But main use is going to be at boot fairs and things like that. I can make myself a cup of tea.
Yeah, that'd be handy, won't it?
Yeah, I can take my friend Anne up to the local boot fair, and she can have a stall set up because she sells jewellery of all things.
Mm.
And I can go around and buy all the other jewellery.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Clean up. Yeah, you can clean up.
I'm quite good at jewellery, aren't I? So it's like,
Yeah.
whoop,
Yeah,
I'm getting my eye in now. It's like, oh,
yeah. You've had rather a good week with that, haven't you?
I've had a couple of good weeks. Yes,
Yeah,
gold.
definitely your intuition has really been kicking in, hasn't
It's kicking in because I've focused it and applied it. So I
it?
used to use it for sort of everything, and I don't. It's not that I don't need it for all the other stuff, but I really wanted to learn the kind of jewellery side of things, and it's turning up in the most unexpected places. So yeah,
Good.
I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. No, I was obviously I miss having a camper van. I do. And I don't know whether I'll ever have access back to it. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, who knows. But it's just the freedom to just think, oh, stuff it. I think I'll go somewhere today. You want to go on
Yeah.
holiday today, you can go on holiday today. And it's just lovely. You haven't got to phone anywhere or do anything. You just jump in and off you go. And it's just so lovely. If you want to sort of go and visit somewhere specific, whether it happens to be, sort of a market town that's got a car boot sale, that's legendary, but it happens to be an hour and a half drive away, and you think, well, it's in a nice area, I'll stay over until the next day. Why not? You just can. And that's such a nice thing about it. You haven't got to think, oh God, I'm going to need a B&B, or I'm going to do this, and it's a long journey, and I might be tired, and I might see a pub, and I might fancy a drink. And, I haven't got to worry about all of that.
Well, that's it. There are lots of pubs you can park up at. I've been looking into it all. There's quite a whole little world around it. It's lovely.
Yeah.
The problem, if you will, this year is going to be the fact that quite a lot of people are doing the same thing. So those places you didn't used to have to book for, it's worth just giving them a phone call and go, "Have you got space?"
Yeah.
But that's because people aren't. I mean, there might be some people who think it's okay to go abroad this year. I'm probably not going to be one of them unless a lot changes. So yeah.
No, I think you're right. I mean, when I had mine, both if I was driving around in this country, or whether I was abroad, wherever I was staying, whether it was, sort of a Stellplatz or less so much then, but if it was in a pub car park or restaurant, or, whether it was a campsite or whatever, again, I always used to phone and say, you have got spaces, haven't you? Good, I'll see you in 20 minutes or whatever.
Exactly.
Because it's just worth it to do that rather than having a wasted journey. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. They really are. And there's lots of places that you can, sort of off the beaten track, you can pull over and, park up in places like that too. There's a lot of places like that as well. And at the beginning, it's not comfortable. You don't feel right doing that. But, the more you do it, the more you get used to, oh, this is a spot, it's not illegal to park here. I will park here. That'll do nothing.
Well, exactly. And I think very popular tourist areas are going to be, anyone wanting to visit anywhere this summer is going to find it's actually a lot busier than they used to. So places like Cornwall and Devon, not even happening this year. They're bad enough for traffic at the best of times, but somewhere out of the way, like we were saying, going and looking at some sort of witchy places or interesting places in rural Essex or Suffolk or something like that. That's not going to be jam-packed full of tourists because it isn't known for that.
No.
I've disappeared. I'm still here. I'm just not sure what's occurred there.
H.
Can I come back out and go back in again? I'm H, who's been watching Call of Duty. Anyway, I'll back out and come back in. Hang on.
Right. Okay. Oh, she's gone. Now, will we have to wait for long? That's the question, isn't it? So what we got here? Local beers and ciders. God, yeah, I'm with you with that. Food is home cooked and not expensive. And that's at Avebury. Yeah. Well, that's good. Is that the main pub? Is that the Red Lion? There she is. Should we let her in? Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Did you poke a button?
I didn't touch a damn thing.
Something. Something you shouldn't have done. So Becky's saying that you can park at a pub in Avebury for free in the van. Their land is beautiful, and the deal is that you eat there once a day, like your evening. Oh, well, that's fair enough, isn't
I'd
it?
love to go there, but I suspect again this year it's going to be quite busy, especially when the weather warms up.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, there are many, many sites I would love to go and see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, there's so many places. But Becky went to, I think I'm right in saying that she went off to Avebury at the weekend, I think.
Has she got a camper?
Part of the week? No, not with a camper van. But it seemed to be really quiet.
It will be right now, but
I suppose, you know, it's still early, isn't it? And obviously, yeah, you know, I suppose, you know, as the weather, if the weather improves,
it
which
will. It will. I'll do my best. And for example,
Eventually.
it's like, whoops.
Yeah. But then, you know, who needs good weather at the moment anyway? We can't go anywhere for that.
Exactly. It's saving it all for the summer.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be an absolute walker. You know, and it will, you know, there'll be lots of, you know, nice little places around and stuff. So I'll tell you what I was surprised at today, and I was driving around North London today.
Oh.
Like you do. And I was, where was I? Just north of Wembley, somewhere around that area. And there were loads of little taverns that were, I must have gone past 4 within a couple of miles, that were obviously new things that would get themselves all spruced up and, you know, coming soon and opening soon. It wasn't reopening or anything else. They were very obviously new things. It's like, oh, people are having some, you know, I think people are sort of thinking people have missed it and they want something sort of small and cozy, and that's what they were providing. I couldn't believe it. So there were several of them, and I thought, oh, that'd be quite nice. That's that sort of thing, rather than sort of the big Wetherspoons pubs that people are a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about that. There's a lot of people in there. Whereas if you've got a little, you know, sort of a little restaurant-sized pub stroke bar, you know, with a dozen or so people in, people might feel more comfortable. And I think that's what they might have been thinking of. And they might do quite well, especially if there's a bit of outside seating and stuff. So good luck to them. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you never know. There might be even more places than before lockdown. And that would be quite nice, you know, sort of new and interesting places and so on. And not just in the touristy places, in anywhere you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an awful lot of shops that have closed, so there'll be an awful lot of you know, places available to, you know, to rent out and so on. Excuse me.
Yes.
So yeah. So yeah. Now what we've got down here. So put my glasses away and then things happen and I can't read them.
That's right. Becky popped in. We got our full Becky compliment now.
Oh, yes. Hello. Yes. It's never quite the same without the full number of Beckys, is it? Hello. So yeah, Becky is saying that it's not the Red Line. It's one that's 4 minutes away down the little country lane, and she'll get the name and PM us. Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I love Avebury. I absolutely love it down there. I really do. We've talked about this before, I know, but I just find it so much, I don't know, just so much better than Stonehenge. I don't really get much from Stonehenge, but then there's so many other stone circles around. You know, and wooden ones, of course. You know, there are wood henges and things. So you know, there's loads around to explore, not just the bigger, well-known ones. It's nice to see the little ones as well. And I'll tell you what else I learnt about the other day, whatever it was. Can't think who I was talking to now. I think it might have been Hannah. And she was talking about the stone balls that are in the northern part of England. Do you know about them?
Is that Scotland? Up in Scotland?
I think there's
or somewhere.
No. I think they're more North England and southern Scotland, from what she was saying.
Okay.
So, unless I got the wrong end of the stick, but I didn't know about them. Like, ooh. And they sort of, you know, go back to sort of Neolithic times. So yeah, that's interesting too. They've got all carvings and things on them, you know. So that's quite interesting that, you know, caveman Ugg wasn't just worrying about bashing his wife over the head with his club and then catching a saber-toothed tiger for tea. He was also interested in putting pretty patterns on a round stone. So that's nice to know, isn't it?
Oh, it's always there.
So yeah, so I thought I need to do some more investigation about them because they're not something I know about. And now that I do know about them, I need to know more about them. So yeah, so I should be poking about with that. But yeah, so North of England obviously quite a jaunt away, but you know, it's doable. But
Well,
yeah,
exactly. That would be a campervan trip.
definitely, definitely. Mm. Such amazing places to see, and we've got such an amazing heritage, haven't we? And it's all on our doorstep, really. You know, and people, I know people escape to different countries because they want better weather and so on. And I get that. But when I go on holiday personally, I don't go for the better weather. I go to see the workings of a different country and how they eat and how they live and the historical places. And weather's usually a secondary bonus when it comes to going abroad for me. So the fact that the weather may or may not be decent in the UK is kind of irrelevant for me. I don't mind at all, whatever the weather decides to throw at you any particular day. And it always makes it so, well, it's always a bit of a quiz, really. What's it going to do tomorrow? Will I need my bikini top or will I need the thermals?
Both in one day if it's England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and possibly your umbrella. And a snowplow attachment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just so much to explore. I mean, you couldn't possibly see it all in a lifetime, could you? If you quit your job and just went trundling about, you'd still not get to see it all.
No, because it's all quite closely packed together, isn't it?
Yeah, but you'd still miss it. You'd still be bits that you missed, I reckon. Even if you did it for 20 years, you'd still miss bits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think we're going to run out of inspiration, that's for sure. I'm saying we. I don't think you're going to run out of inspiration. I'll commandeer Japan.
Might run out of petrol.
Need a small top up here and there. Now, why are you running about? What's the matter?
Oh, they're not all fainting from hunger, are they?
Oh, it's Bert again. He's doing the biscuit dance. What's the matter? What's the matter? Yes. Oh, dear. No, he's not happy about something. I'm not entirely sure what. Come on, come say hello. No. Come on. He's coming. He's not. It's the most intelligent cat ever, this one. He's going to look at me now. Come on. Come on. Oh, I shall snaffle him.
Yeah, he knows he's going to get caught and squeezed.
Got him. Oh.
Almost. Oh, he does not look happy about that.
No.
No.
No, don't like it, no. What's the matter? He says, there's nothing in my dish. There is, actually. He's got 3 dishes down and they've all got stuff in it. But the fact that you can see a little bit of the bottom of the dish means that it's totally empty, not worth bothering with. Isn't it?
Yes. One of my cats will eat its biscuits if they're outside the dish. The other one won't eat them unless they're inside the dish. So we tend to throw biscuits in the general area and both are happy. Strange.
Yeah. Patty likes to help himself to biscuits. So I've got a bag of biscuits and all of a sudden you can hear where he's got his paw in the bag and he's pulling and then you suddenly get and they land all over the floor and brilliant. So yeah, we obviously just fancy fresh ones. The other ones have been down for about 20 minutes, terribly stale.
Oh, come off.
So yeah, fresh ones required immediately. Yes. Oh, I don't know. So have you got, when it comes to visiting the UK, Have you got any affinity with any particular part of the UK that you think, from a witchcraft point of view, that you would like to explore more, or are you just sort of open to suggestion?
I am open to suggestion, but I am quite keen to explore more of kind of East Anglia, that area, because it's an area that, I mean, I've been to the Norfolk Broads because I think a lot of people have, but
Yeah.
it's a kind of an area that everyone bypasses.
Mm.
And it just seems like this bit of no man's land stuck there. I think there must be all sorts
I
of
think
hidden
there's
things
loads of
there.
stuff there. I think there's some hidden gems
Mm.
there. And I think also, I mean, the Essex witchcraft trials was a really big thing, wasn't it? That sort of general bulge of the country had a huge problem with Matthew Hopkins. So yeah, and I think there's a lot of history down there. So I think I think there's more than several places to explore there. I think there's all sorts of stuff, actually. It'd be really interesting to go and see.
Yeah.
My dad came from Essex.
Hmm.
He was an Essex boy. You wouldn't have known it. He sounded like, what was his name? Oh, God, I've forgotten his name. He was in all the Carry On films, and he used to go, "Dig dog." Who was that? What was his name? Leslie Phillips.
Leslie Phillips.
That's it, Leslie Phillips. That's what my dad used to sound like. So you wouldn't have known that he was an Essex boy. But he was. So, yeah. So it'd be quite interesting, because obviously I've got a certain rootage there. Not that I know Essex very well. I don't. I've only been there a handful of times. Nearly got blown off the cliff in Essex,
I didn't know Essex had cliffs.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a particularly high cliff, but we were camping and we had one of those tunnel tents, and we had winds like we had the other day, and my kids were quite small. And
Oh dear.
oh God. So what we had to do when we were trying to put the tent up, was with this blooming great long tunnel tent, we had to lay it down on the ground, and we had, like, my three kids and me were laying strategically along this sort of tube, basically, sort of polytunnel tube. And then as various sections of it went up, we just sort of rolled over to the next bit.
Very strange.
Yeah, so getting it up was kind of tricky, but getting it down, obviously, as soon as you unpegged it, it was like woof, and that suddenly disappeared off the edge of the cliff. So that was Colchester way. Yeah, so that was an interesting holiday. Managed to break my wrist and my hand again on that holiday, and my ex-husband managed to break his toe thanks to my daughter. And we'd gone into the clubhouse in the evening, and I was just being an annoying parent, and I had my flip-flops on, and we were sort of sitting in a horseshoe, like a semicircle, very, very busy in the clubhouse, and there wasn't a full table for us all to sit round. So we and they were circular tables. So I was on the back of one table, and then, several tables put together in a semicircle. So we sat in a semicircle on the inside of that table, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm sitting opposite my eldest daughter, and I've got my flip-flops on, and I'm kind of just waving my foot irritatingly in her face and just bugging her. I was just being a pain with her. And she got irritated, and she grabbed my foot and stood up with it and then sat back down again. But what happened was that as she lifted my foot up, I disappeared off backwards and landed on the table that is on my back. But the table wasn't attached to the stand, and the table sort of, instead of being like this, shot off sideways, went up in the air. I landed on the floor, and then the table landed on my hand and broke my hand and my wrist. And then as she'd stood up and sat down, her chair had moved really slightly, and the chair leg repositioned itself right over the top of my ex-husband's toe. And as she sat back down again, snapped it clean in half.
Oh.
Oh God, what a holiday. It was raining and windy the entire time, and my hand hurt the entire time. And after 5 days of being on holiday, nearly getting blown off the cliff, and obviously my husband's hobbling around, and I can only use one hand to do cooking on the camp stove. And literally, we drove home. I dumped everything out of the car and said, "I'm going to hospital." So off I went. And the hospital was rather surprised when they said, "When did you do it?" And I said, "About 5 days ago." What? Yeah. So I was busy. So yeah. Oh, fun times. Yeah. Oh dear, it was funny though.
Painful, but about funny. East Anglia having lots of witchcraft history, saying that we can. And she said she stayed in Warboys. I didn't know that was a place.
Yeah. Oh yes, I've been reading about Warboys actually.
Very witchy.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I was reading about Warboys. That's one of the town/villages that's got all the Tudor houses. I think all the black and white Tudor houses. I think I'm right in saying that. Susie, tell me yes or no. But yeah, I think it's it's really, really, really pretty, and I like places like that. It's like all quaint English towns. I love them. So yeah, so there you go. See, yeah, we'll have fun, Heather.
Oh, we will.
We will. We will. We will. Yeah. I mean, essentially, it's going to be a mighty pub crawl, isn't it? To be fair, a mighty pub crawl. To be fair.
Well, there'll be an element of that, yeah. Eating will be involved, much eating.
Much eating, much pubbing, much witchery.
An awful lot of nattering, as always.
Maybe a little bit of that. It'll be jolly good fun, actually. I think it'll be lovely. It's good. Won't it?
Yeah.
Let's get dressed up, Let's get dressed up like proper witches.
God, can you imagine we get chased out of Essex?
Oh, I don't know. I think it'd be quite good fun. Have to fish out the hobnail boots and all the rest of it. Yeah. And a witch's umbrella. I've got a witch's umbrella,
Is that different from the ordinary umbrella?
Yeah, no, it's the ones that you sort of see in the the 1940s, 1950s pictures. They had the different shape umbrellas. Right, I had the sort of the little bit at the top before you've got the one of them. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh well, Becky's off to bed. So cheerio. Bye, darling. I'll see you soon. Yes, we'll be saying cheerio fairly shortly too. We've been waffling on for an hour or so, haven't we? Yes, we have. Yes. Cat's come to put his paw up my nose again.
Oh yeah. Just
Oh God. All right. Well, on that note, we'll say cheerio and to the pit and all that, and we'll see you next week. And then Heather was going to tell us all about the Blessed Week, aren't you?
Exactly. It'll be pleasant. It will be about.
It will. So we'll say cheerio. Have a lovely week. Try not to get too wet or blown away, or freeze. I mean, it is May after all. So yes. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Cheerio.